Good morning. My name is Geraldine Avendano, and I will be talking about juvenile delinquency. Um, who recalls being a teenager, not having any responsibilities but the crafting of a simple decision like what to wear to school or does my sneakers match my outfit? When is the next house party? I remember life being so simple yet so complex. As a teenager, you had many choices, but you were the only one who had control of making the smart choice and being an outsider or following others as they did. I remember as a teenager being faced with lots of challenges and not thinking about the consequences until after the fact. Um, Now, as an adult, I look back and realize how just 1 second of bad judgment could have changed my life, and I would not be where I am today. Not everyone that I knew made it out successful with a career and a family. Instead, they fell through the cracks and landed in the court system, all because they made an immoral judgment. You might ask yourself, what are those predisposing factors that lead to juvenile delinquency? Is it just a bad choice, or does it go deeper than what's on the surface? So do they just wake up one day and agree on messing up their life, on doing something spontaneous? No, I did a lot of research, and the reasons that I found were very profound. These children are exposed to poverty, abuse in the household, a missing parent or an absent parent overall, and peer pressure that plays a very big role. All of these are exposing factors to lead a young adult to delinquency at a very early age. First, I want to discuss in details what delinquency is and what is based on. The typical definition that you will find on the internet or in any kind of book, it says that delinquency is an unlawful conduct by a minor, meaning those under the age of 18 who act in such criminal ways. These crimes usually happen when a child is in their adolescent stage, more like a teenager, I would say. Most legal systems, depending on the jurisdiction, would handle the case very differently. Also, depending on the type and severity of the offense committed, it's possible for under the age of 18 to be charged as an adult. Now, all states have different laws and how they go about the case. Some of the juvenile delinquencies can be based on broad spectrums, but some may include skipping school, staying past your curfew, underage drinking, and underage smoking. Delinquency can be displayed in variations of styles of conduct or forms of behavior. It has four main parts that I did a lot of research on, and it was written by a man named Howard Becker, who was an American sociologist who has major contribution to society through his vivid writing styles. The main four parts are individual delinquency, group-supported delinquency, organized delinquency, and situational delinquency. And I am going to briefly touch on these subjects. Individual is pretty self-explanatory. It's one individual involved in committing a delinquent act. No companionship. And of course, the other one would be group supported, which is involved with other people and more as peer pressure. Organized delinquency is planning the situation and planning the crime. And situational delinquency is kind of just spontaneous. You're hanging out with some friends and you are peer pressured into doing something which it's in the situation at the moment. And of course, these situational delinquencies don't feel like they have anything to lose, so it's less developed impulse control, and of course the weaker reinforcement of family. The second thing I would like to discuss is some of the factors leading to juvenile delinquency. Like I mentioned before, young adults just don't go and wake up one morning and decide to ruin their life. I believe they have to be pre-exposed to certain factors. For example, poverty, which is a reoccurring factor, is just getting worse in the United States. Young adults living in these conditions are pressured to survive by doing criminal acts. Since there is a lack of job opportunities, financial support, mental health, and of course education. You can see where this all leads to juvenile delinquency. The next big factor I found pretty interesting is abuse in the household. I had a friend who was mentally and physically abused by her alcoholic father at a very young age. I remember us probably being in high school. She was not impacted at the age of adolescent, but it sure did impact her when she became an adult. The damage came later when she became an age and she had no one to tell her what to do or how to live her life. She decided to slip through the cracks and fell right into the system. It led her to drugs to try and numb her pain from her memories of her father. Another big factor is having an absent parent or both. Over 1/4 of children in the United States are raised by a single parent. I did a lot of reading and I understood that a lot of children from single parent homes are at greater risk to commit a delinquency act, substance abuse, and have behavior issues. Nowadays, a single parent holding a household alone means working 40 hours a week plus. That means the parent is absent most of the time just to try to make ends meet with the bills and the expenses of a child. This all leads to children becoming independent at a very young age, which after all is not always a bad thing. Since the brain is not fully developed at adolescent age, they are more likely to act in such criminal ways. And of course, you have lack of communication, which means the child does not communicate with the parent. In all honesty, that can make or break a child-parent relationship. I'm a parent myself. School nowadays will test a teenager to the extremes, for example, bullying. Per the National Bullying Prevention, I found this very interesting. More than 1 out of every 5 students report being bullied, and those who are being bullied at school indicate that it happens in all places. For example, hallways, stairways, inside the classroom, in the cafeteria, outside of the school grounds, on the school bus, in the bathrooms, you mention it. This really makes me wonder, are they even safe in school? It seems as if bullying can happen just about anywhere, and no child is safe. However, as a parent, the community plays a big role in your child's behavior and could lower the chances of your child being bullied or even pressured into doing any criminal acts. Make sure to have a healthy relationship with your children. Once you have an open relationship with your child, it's a smoother ride. It's not easy, but it is a smoother ride to parent and to trust them enough to make the right decision. Instill the best morals you can as a parent and be the example. They are always watching. Don't you forget that. Other ways that you can prevent juvenile delinquency is to have them involved in community events, after school activities. They gain knowledge and also know what it takes to work extremely hard to gain anything. I would also advise that other ways that you could prevent juvenile delinquency is to maybe be more involved in their education, in their feelings and how they feel. Of course, communication plays a huge role nowadays. Nowadays, we can say that we know what can be done to change the life of adolescents and reduce their partaking in criminal activities or behavior. With early intervention and the right treatment of each individual child can not only save young lives from being wasted and minimize the likelihood on adult delinquency, but change the statistics. I read so much statistics. Mentoring programs are in high demand and have a great chance in flipping adolescent life all around with just a few words of encouragement and motivation. I also advise to be the change you want to see in your children. Thank you.